Hey, and we are the Coalition, loud and proud, civilly disobedient media. We are here live at your Pawtucket City Hall, just moments after really a beautiful, very touching ceremony. Representatives of the Cape Verdean government were here. Local community groups were represented, talking about the incredible contribution that the Cape Verdean community has made to the city of Pawtucket. So for the very first time, we get a chance to meet Gabe Amo. Did I pronounce that correctly?
It works.
Okay. Gabe is part of this contingent, we'll use that word, that's running for the now vacated seat by David Cicilline. First of all, thank you for taking a few moments. I know you're on a hectic campaign schedule, but again, independent media, it's our contention that outfits that are Blackstone Valley based like we are going to have a lot more sway in this campaign than the traditional large television station establishment media of more central southern Rhode Island. So tell us a little bit more about your motivation. You know, we're going to get into it over the next few weeks in terms of doing deep dive on issues, which plays, from what I understand, to your strength. But what's your motivation for running? And, you know, everyone's going to ask about the crowded field. We won't, but that's kind of hanging over everyone, isn't it?
Yeah, well, look, I can only speak for myself. There are lots of great people in this field, but I'll tell you a little bit about me. My name is Gabe Amo, and I'm a candidate for Congress in the 1st District as a son of the 1st District. I recently left the White House 3 months ago, where I was the Deputy Director of Intergovernmental Affairs for President Biden, and the reason I left is because I thought and I think that Rhode Islanders deserve a congressperson with the experience that I had working for 2 presidents and here for Governor Raimondo to really be an effective leader from day one and also lead on the big fights that we have ahead.
Talk to us about your White House experience in a little bit more detail, because in Rhode Island, this state is tribal. It's a cult. It's everything you imagine and more. And that's what makes it wonderful. But at the same time, we need to remind ourselves that this is not state office. This is the first seriously contested federal office in a few months. But it is contested and it is federal level. So how does that prepare you? And a little deeper dive on some of the issues you tackled there.
Yes, so you're 100% right, but the values and the people that you're serving are the same. And so when I speak to my experience working for President Biden, I usually describe it in being there for people around the country on the bad days and on the good days. The bad days, your mass shooting, your wildfire, your extreme weather, your building collapse, even things like monkeypox, where I, along with colleagues across the federal government, work to respond and be there for people at their time of need. But there are also the good days, all these acronym pieces of legislation that you've heard, from the IRA to the BIL to the ARP, all of that was investing in people. So when we look at the bipartisan infrastructure law, investing in our places, and the roads that we travel, the infrastructure that we have for electric vehicles, for broadband, for so many things. And I have had the opportunity to serve at the highest levels. And really, that's just helping to make government functional, making sure that trust between people and their government, trust that ensures that things work. And that's what I've been part of my whole career, and I hope to bring that attitude, solutions-oriented attitude, to Congress.
One of the challenges is that on the congressional levels, more specifically the House level, we have just lost in the space of a year 2 representatives who were highly ranked, highly regarded, highly involved, highly connected, all of that. And I'm not sure folks, because we spend so much time focusing on internal politics here within the state, understand what that loss means. How does your connections within, if you will, the greater workings of DC, how will that help you as a freshman congressman if elected?
Tremendously. You know, with all due respect to everybody who's in this race, no one possesses the ability to hit the ground running in the same way. You know, for example, we're going to be seeking lots of federal funding as it relates to the substantial pieces of legislation that have come out in the last few years on climate and on infrastructure. what I have the ability to do is call some of my recently former colleagues and say, hey, here's a moment where we can act. Here's how Rhode Island can be a leader. And I think that is incredibly advantageous to us. And I know we lost a lot of seniority, but I can be part of a new generation of leadership and also help accelerate our return to having someone in Washington in the delegation who rounds us out with a set of experiences that can really transform and impact lives here at home.
Finally, and again, if you're just joining us, Gabe Amo is here. He was attending the Cape Verdean Festival, so we wanted to make sure we got a chance to put up. Pro tip, Mr. Amo actually published to the coalition the schedule for today, so we were able to connect with him, which, believe me, is so important to us. But freshman legislators are often assigned to, well, sort of it's the freshman class.
Yeah,
Imagine freshman.
not a lot of choice.
Right, freshman year in high school is probably a good analogy. All right, but what areas, if you got that magic call that says, Gabe, what would you like to focus on? What committee would you like to be on? What would that be?
Well, if we're going to run the exercise, then I'm going to ask for the most valuable place for what I think this role is. That's the Appropriations Committee. Mm-hmm. But I know, and you know, that that's probably not going to happen for a freshman member. So realistically, there are others that are important that I think about. I think about Energy and Commerce, another top tier committee. But some sort of canaries in the coal mine here are issues like small business, that oversees the SBA and also helps drive legislation. Looking at the Science and Technology Committee in the House, we have such robust labs and facilities and things that can help us accelerate our role in the clean energy future of tomorrow. So I know I will have no choice or little choice, but I'm going to figure out how do I take advantage of the strengths that we have here and maximize my voice to help people back here in Rhode Island.
Interestingly enough, and this is trivia, but while you may be a freshman, you're going to be like a senior freshman because you'll actually have a year over the next class coming in, and that's the type of thing that can have significant impact, well, forever. And if you look now at the logical extension of state leadership and heritage and legacy in this state, Senator Jack Reed is now either number 5 or number 6. In our United States
impressive.
Senate. And as a result, he's able to do Senate Armed Services, and he's the chair, or should hands change a rankings, but that has incalculable impact on the state of Rhode Island. But again, thank you for taking time to spend with us. I'm sure we're going to see each other on the campaign trail. Thanks for taking the deep dive into issues, and I look forward to continuing the conversation.
Well, thank you, Pat, and we'll see you soon.